We'll call this Wednesday, March the 23rd, Planning Commission to order. Before we get started, I do want to introduce two new commission members, Lydia DePaul and Jim Flynn. They're to my right over here, so welcome. Thanks for joining us. May I have a roll call, please?
Here, Amanda Jackson Denmark. Here. Vice Chair Charlie Wetmore.
Here.
Commissioner Rich Delcor.
Here.
Commissioner Kathleen Duncan.
Present.
Commissioner Jason Stewart. Commissioner Lydia DuPaul.
Here.
And Commissioner Jim Flynn.
Here.
Thank you.
Notice regarding adjournment, the Planning Commission will not hear new items after 9:30 unless authorized by a majority vote of the commission members present. Items which have not been heard before 9:30 may be continued to the next regular meeting or a special meeting date as determined by the commission members. Notice regarding public comments, every member of the public who is recognized to speak shall address the chairman in speaking. Avoid disrespect to commission staff and other members of the meeting. State your name, address, and speaking for the record. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. May I have an adoption of the agenda, please?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and I need a motion for the adoption of the minutes for February the 23rd. Has everyone looked over them? Any questions? May I have a motion?
Move that we accept the minutes for, sorry, what was the date again? February 23rd as submitted.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Please note that we have the 2 members that will not be voting on this.
That's you.
All in favor?
Figured that one out already, is it?
All in favor, did you say?
Yes, I said aye.
Thank you.
In the middle of laughing.
All right, public comments. Do we have any public comments?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Do we have any old business?
No old business.
So we will go straight to new business, which is the fiscal year 2022 capital improvements program. So Kim, you're going to represent?
I am here for you this evening. There we go. Thank you so much for your time this evening. I'm Kim Jones, who is with Pat Rooney, our capital program manager. And I have to thank their team. They're the ones who put together really this presentation for you, as well as consideration of capital projects. We're here tonight to discuss the prioritization of proposed projects for fiscal year 23. Our request before you this evening is for you to adopt as submitted the prioritized list of CIP projects for the 23 budget, as well as the 5-year CIP plan between 23 and 27. And the background on this, as you're familiar, you do this every year. This is through South Carolina Code of Laws that you have the power and duty to recommend for council's consideration the prioritization of these projects. So you're charged with reviewing staff's recommendations, and then these will go forward to town council in their April meeting for your recommendations. In your packet, you have a number of attachments. Attachment 1 has several pages, and we'll go through these really quickly. The projects that have been or will be completed in fiscal year 22, or what was budgeted for scope for fiscal year 22 completion. Projects that are carrying forward and part of that 5-year CIP plan, so they will be roll forwards to 23 to 27, all of which have been previously prioritized by you and accepted by council. And then there are new projects for fiscal year 23 to 27. Staff has already ranked these, and they're up for your discussion. They are not in rank order. They are either a high priority 1 or a lower priority 2, but still a high priority. So here you go is a summary of completed projects that have been completely removed from the CIP, items 1 through 4, all projects you're familiar with. And then the second table, 1 through 7, completed items for the scope that was planned and budgeted for 22 that will be completed. So there are certain phases that will be continuing. You'll still see them on the CIP list for the 5 years. This is the current 5-year prioritized list, previously prioritized list of capital projects, 1 through 37. So again, these are more for your reference and the work that you've done in the past. What we are asking for your input for are these two new projects to begin in fiscal year '23. Both of these arising from the May River Watershed Action Plan update, which is the Pritchett Street drainage improvements and water quality improvements project, as well as the May River Watershed Action Plan impervious surface restoration project. This is a geotechnical evaluation of 11 sites. Staff is recommending that each of these be a priority of 1, and then it's up to your consideration. Attachment 2 is a distribution of where these projects are located throughout the town's jurisdiction. As part of the minutes, these will be included, and that is a hyperlink. Everybody can always find on the CIP dashboard on the town's website more information about each project in depth. And this is a representation of how these projects are distributed throughout the town's jurisdiction. In your determination of prioritization of the two projects proposed for you, there are these mandates to take in consideration, legal mandates, fiscal, and what have you. Staff has already taken these in consideration of recommending each of the two new projects be a priority of 1. And so with that, that's a quick overview. There were just two new ones. I told you to be relatively quickly, a quick project review. So any discussion or questions that you may have, I'm happy to address.
Anybody want to start?
Ms. Jones?
Sir?
I'm curious, first time going through this on the commission. How is, like, I see the new money is $10,696,000 that was budgeted or planned for fiscal year '23. How does that number determined? Who determines that number, and are there other significant projects that didn't make your list because that number was constrained?
No, not at all. To answer the second piece of that, the first number, or the first part of that question, how that number is determined, is from usually engineering cost estimates, past projects that we've completed. So it is an estimate. We work with our finance team to come up with that, and they put that piece of information together for us.
So if you wanted $12 million and identified those projects, the finance would agree to that?
As long as we can find a funding source, sure. And in fact, that's how we have 42 active projects currently, is because of that. These are, remember, all of these projects come out of plans that have been previously approved. So it's implementing these plans along the way, and it really is finishing up Godey Schultz neighborhood plan. It's finishing up Buck Island Simmonsville neighborhood plan. It's moving forward with the historic district Old Town master plan. Moving forward with the May River Watershed Action Plan. So that's where they originate, and staff is bringing those forward in a piece-wise fashion that makes sense and is completing these plans. Again, with the 42 active projects, really nothing has been left off the table.
Thank you.
By giving something a 2 designation versus a 1 designation, does that prohibit staff from pursuing a level 2 project if they want it?
So that's why I said it's a higher priority than another priority. No, it doesn't. If we have an opportunity to partner, seek funding, because it's a 2, it says we move forward, and it's part of the budget. So then we are allowed to go ahead and pursue it. No, it doesn't necessarily mean that, oh, we have a great opportunity to go for a level 2 project, but we're going to go for a harder level 1 project because it was a priority 1. No, they're all priorities. That's why they're on the list. It's just a matter of in the time and resources you have and what's available, these are the ones we're going to focus on first. A great opportunity comes up, 2s are there, and they're always ready to go.
Yeah, it depends on like the scope and what it involves and entails.
And especially in the 2s, a lot of them have design and pre-planning that are coming in. So if we're doing assessments, if we're doing evaluations along the way that get us to the point of design and construction, those are going to get a 2 because they're not as intense on the staff time as actually moving into the construction. So that's another reason it could be a 2. So there's still action on it, it's just maybe not in active construction. All those different priorities or lists that were there.
Because one of the things, and another thing I see here is we've just got I mean, most of the list is number ones, except for I think maybe 3 projects on this proposed list. And so one of the concerns or questions I also have is just, do we have the staff to support pursuing this many projects?
Well, all of those are already done. So let me back up. Those aren't even a consideration. These, they're already done. They're in the 5-year plan. Y'all did this last year. The only 2 new ones are these ones. So not to disregard your question, but just to clarify for everyone, these guys are already on the book. Staff is already working on them. To answer your question of adding 2 new ones to this, we actually are going to workshop with council in it's actually March count. In April would be the next month. In April, we're doing a workshop with them to discuss, it's not necessarily the staff capacity, we're full, there's no doubt, but the current market conditions and what we're seeing for supply chains and what have you, and how can we continue to move these projects forward as expeditiously as possible. It's a challenge for anybody doing any construction right now, and this town is not immune.
Right. So I'm just throwing out a hypothetical. I'm not saying that this is what I want to push. With this project list of things that were already on that prioritization list, there is no option to remove that, to lower that. Then at this point, those are pretty much static.
Town council has already approved those. Yes, they stay the same.
Okay.
Ms. Jones, another question. Just again, I wasn't here last year. When I look at the 2022 carry forward of $9 million, that's still a lot of money. Is the reason there's so much carry forward because
of what I just said?
And is there any document, because I know each individual document projects out spending to 27. I found it very helpful to see the carry forward, the new money, and the proposed. Is there any document that shows the whole capital plan out to 27? The spending.
I don't think I'm understanding. Clearly I'm not, because I have the deer in headlights look on my face. I'm not understanding what you're
If you look at
asking.
these individual sheets, the individual sheets go all the way out to 27 and have spending associated with each year.
So, I'm sorry. Can I rephrase it to see if I understand it? Sometimes I do that better, if I can say it back to see if I'm hearing it clearly. You're talking a total list CIP for 5-year projections. Yes, finance has that, yes.
Thank you.
Sorry, a little slow on the uptake on that one.
All right, is there anything else, Kathleen? You're good? No, you're not good, or is there anything?
Oh, no.
Anything for you guys?
No, I don't have anything else to say.
All right, anything else?
Thank you. No.
I do, just very briefly, let's talk about the 2 projects, just to get an understanding. Pritchett Street, as some of the others of us probably did, driving through the half-foot of water tonight.
Yeah.
That drainage improvement, which sorely needed, is not going to go into the cove, correct?
No, it will. However, what will be better about it is before it goes in the cove, which is what it's doing currently, when it gets there, I mean, it has to stage up enough to sheet flow and go in the cove. It will go in after having water quality treatment, which does not exist right now. This road, as well as Bridge Street, predate. And they're straight discharges. So in fact, there's a 319 grant for water quality improvement associated with the Bridge Street streetscape that bids are due tomorrow on. And then this would be really a companion piece, and we're seeking extra 319 funding to do additional water quality improvements prior to discharge.
Okay, and just because probably only 2 of us up here understood what a 319 is, I know what it is, but could you explain it so that...
So this goes back to your question, Mr. Delcor, about funding sources. And again, I'm happy to answer all of this. It's well beyond prioritization discussion, but I think it's great information for all of you to understand what we're doing on this side. 319 is Clean Water Act Section 319H, federal funding, EPA money, to address water quality impairments and improvements. It's a pass-through grant through South Carolina Department of Health and Environmental Control. And the town has successfully, we have 5 phases that we currently have been funded. And this would be phase 6 for 319 funding for water quality improvement coming out of the May River Watershed Action Plan. So there's great activity for water quality improvement being taken by the town.
And then, thank you. And then on the other project, the impervious surface restoration, what does that look like? Can you give us an example?
I can't yet because this is going to your question earlier, Ms. Duncan, about where do things fall in a line of over 1 or 2. This one is a high priority because it's looking in the headwaters where we have the impairment for people coliform for shellfish harvesting in the May River. And that's a strategic plan priority for council. But that is beginning to do geotechnical work evaluation of 11 potential sites that have been modeled for water quality improvement and having a positive impact for water quality improvement in the headwaters of the May River. So out of those 11 sites, this is saying, all right, you can't do all 11 at once. Then those will come forward and let's say 375 of the 11 are the best sites that we should move forward with. So right now it's just preliminary. Doing our homework, crossing our T's, dotting our I's.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Certainly.
Anyone want to provide a recommendation to council?
I'll go ahead. I move that we place the PC, the Planning Commission priority, equivalent to the staff recommended priority and the current staff priority in our presentation to council.
Okay, may I have a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jones.
Thank you all.
Is there any-
Appreciate the opportunity.
Discussion. Jordan, do you have anything to say?
We did. What was that one note we did this morning?
The comprehensive plan.
Yes.
Random to comprehensive.
If Charlotte can give the update, that would be great.
Thank you.
I think you were here for something.
April 5th at 6 p.m., we are holding an open house for comprehensive plan. This is to review the draft recommendations, and our consultant will give a short presentation at the beginning, and there's opportunity to ask questions and provide input. So you are welcome to attend.
That's all we had for discussion.
All you have?
All we had.
Then can I have a motion for adjournment?
Maybe you should do it.
Yeah, make a motion to adjourn the
Can
meeting.
I have a second?
Second. Actually, I should let.
Yes,
Second.
Lydia.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
So
All in favor?